history. Hear about this and you read about that. I don't want to look at Grumpy Cat. This is how to watch TV. What's that I hear? You hated the Lost finale. It's not your fault that you can't see what we see. This is how to watch TV. On Comeuppance Network. This is how to watch TV. On Comeuppance Network. This is how to watch TV.
Welcome to How to Watch TV. My name is Joel Henderson. With me for this week is my lovely wife, Jennifer. Hello.
Hello.
There she is.
I'm back again.
She's back again. We are here. We are back again for Sons of Anarchy, Season 7, Episode 11. Suits of Woe. Suits. Wow, why do I have a hard time saying suits? Suits of Woe.
How'd they spell that?
S-U-I-T-S. Suits. Like they were wearing suits of woe because they were all so woeful. So woefully. I don't know. I gotta be honest. First, general thoughts about the episode before we get into anything specific at all. Like, I felt like it was a letdown after last week. And there was a lot of good stuff.
I think with it being the third to the last episode. Yeah.
What?
Third to the last episode. That's what this episode was.
Yes, correct.
And for it being as long as it was. And after last episode, it was a disappointment, yes.
I mean, I just didn't see the storylines going in the direction that they're going. The Gemma stuff, like, it's... well, I mean, we'll get into that, but I just feel like last week the ending was so impactful, like, holy shit, he just found out. And then this week, I mean, it was, trying to follow up on that, but it just felt like it fell flat a little bit in certain ways.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I can't like say what I want to say without
going into the episode. Yeah.
So
yeah, we'll get there. So, anyways, we start this one out with previously on Sons. I didn't catch who said it this week. Did you?
No.
They seem to be switching it up for this last season. It really is hard to believe that there's only 2 more episodes after this one. Craziness. Mm-hmm. We see Jack sitting next to Abel's bed. Apparently, people. I don't get that. I don't get that thing where people just stay up all night because they're worrying about stuff. Go to sleep. I've never had something that it's like kept me awake. Like I can always go to sleep.
I think with everything that he's gone through,
yeah,
and the life that he lives, his sleeping schedule's not like perfect anyways.
Yeah,
like you barely ever see him sleeping, or if he does, it's just like a couple hours here or there because like. The episode is going from like midday all the way into the wee hours of the morning.
No, I know. It feels like one of those things that happens in shows a lot, where it's like somebody stayed up because they were troubled about something. It's never been an issue to me in real life. Just go to sleep and then think about it in the morning.
Yeah, but you're different. Like when
well, clearly.
No, because there's been times where it's been stressful with us, and you can go right to sleep, yes. And I stay awake because I'm stressed out about it.
Okay, so I just have no conscience and I can black out.
Yeah, that's like you. That.
Okay, fair enough. So Jax does that thing where he apparently has a soul. So he's awake all night. He's sitting next to Abel's bed, and then we cut to Gemma smoking while once again talking to Tara about why Abel did what he did, and she apologizes, and they do a shot that implies we didn't know she was talking to Tara, and like a long zoom on the table to show she's talking to nobody. I mean, it's a cool shot, but...
Yeah, but you knew who she was talking to.
Exactly. If they had done that the first time, fair enough. It would have been like, oh, shit. We cut to Juice mumbling to himself about his debts will be paid when he gets this done. While he's sitting in jail, he's just doing that I'm crazy Juice and I talk to myself thing. Right? I mean, that was like the hotel thing again, where if he's alone for too long, he just starts...
But does he really feel that? I mean, like, he was just he was Marilyn Manson's bitch. Like...
Does he really feel like he's going to get out?
Does he really feel like he's going to get out and, like, it's going to be okay and all's forgotten? Or
I think at this point he's deluded himself.
Like,
yeah.
Really?
I think that he's thinking...
Like, if I was him and I went through all that, like, like when he was going in to get Lynn, I immediately thought, okay, he's going in. He's gonna do this last bit for the crew and kill himself because he's gonna be in jail and everything, and all the charges are gonna come up from.
From what? All he did was shoot at the cops.
But everything's gonna come out from Tara.
Oh, what,
and the
like
cop.
Eli? Yeah.
And he's gonna end up staying in there. He's gonna end up killing himself. But like, that's what I felt when he was going in. But now that I see, it's like he is almost really deluded to the point where it's like,
Yeah, I think he genuinely thinks that he's going to get back out and he's going to wear his coat. He's going to wear his cut again and be part of the club. Like, I really think he believes that, or he has to keep himself sane, to keep himself even giving a shit. Because you saw he was checked out when he was getting it from Maryland last week.
I think he looks checked out all the time now.
He is. He's lost everything. Everything's
Yeah.
gone. Chibs is conflicted about Jerry. I'm just going to start calling her Jerry. I always read it as Jari, but they say Jerry in the show, so fuck it. Chibs is conflicted about Jerry. He sees her laying there. You know, he gets up, obviously, having spent the night, and grabs his cut, and then he like goes to like touch her face, and I think he was going to give her a kiss, and then just decided, oh shit, this is getting too... He sees what's happening. He's totally in love with her at this point. And
He's a nice guy.
yeah, like he's falling for her for
Yeah.
real. He's already fallen for her, but I think him pulling back at the last second was him going, "Oh shit, I can't do this," or I shouldn't be doing this. Rather, not he can't because he will. I don't think he's. We saw later when
I think he still
yeah.
questions her.
You think he doesn't trust her?
I don't think he trusts her yet.
Huh? That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you have to. Chibs is old school. Like,
Yeah.
even if he's getting a piece, I don't think like it takes a lot to.
Oh
earn
yeah,
his trust.
considering all the shit that happened to him.
I mean,
it's been so long
from
since
the
I've
Irish to the beginning with Clay.
That's a question I
like-
got for you. Is this a show? I guess we'll only be able to answer it. This is a question we're going to answer in 3 weeks' time because there's no episode one of these weeks. They hold it off. Oh,
Probably
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so there's no episode coming up next week.
Next week.
But what we're going to answer in 3 weeks is this show worthy of a rewatch? I don't mean is it worth watching the show. I mean, is it worth a double watch? Because I've forgotten many, many things about this show.
I think so, because I think
It depends how it ends, is what I mean.
No, I'm not. It's not even done.
Because it could
and-
end so shitty.
Yeah,
and-
but it's not even done, and I would rewatch it only because
But that's why I'm saying we need to wait 2 more weeks to find that out. Because if it ends bad to where we're like, yeah, I don't need to rewatch that.
I would probably still rewatch it because
Would you rewatch Dexter?
No,
Exactly.
no, but with this show it's different because there for a
Because
long
Jax
time.
is hot.
No, no, but for a long time on the show, there was certain people that I wanted dead for a long time, and finally it happened, and it was kind of cool, and then it was just like, I kind of miss them.
Yeah. Stahl, as much of a bitch as she was and as satisfying as her death was,
Yeah,
she was missed.
even Clay. There's times where I miss
I forget
Clay being around.
I forget what Clay's role was, honestly. So he goes to anyways, Chibs goes to leave and doesn't end up following through with her because as we've established he's not very trusting of women or just trusting in general. And he leaves and she opens her eyes after he leaves. So she saw him. She basically knew what was happening right above her
Yeah.
and knows that he's conflicted about it. And I don't know. I want to root for them. I do. I want them to both to. I don't know. I want them to be together. It's just a relationship that seems to work, despite all of the reasons it shouldn't.
I agree. I do too.
And as tough as he acts about it, he's totally into her. Wendy decides to come clean with Jax about Gemma helping Juice, and Jax is immediately confused, but realizes Gemma had the keys, and she says only her, Gemma, and Unser knew. And Wendy asks if her and Jax are okay, and he says that she didn't make the choice to help him. I liked the way he said that line. For some reason, it struck me. The second watch, the way he was just like, "You didn't make the choice to help him." Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. He asked her to keep it between them for now, and he's basically on a mission to get some answers, and says, "You take care of our boys," which I thought was somewhat significant. See, you're just reading my notes. This is why I don't normally put them up there, because you're not engaging with
I'm
me.
sorry.
You're just reading through the thing that I
I'm
just put up there
sorry.
so it would be bigger, so I didn't have to stare down at the iPad the whole time.
No, I thought that part was weird. I think it's a little too soon. And I know he's still going through stuff, but I don't think
For him
it's
to be, I don't think he's
say,
taking her
"Oh,
back.
Take care of our boys."
Yeah, it struck me as like, wow, that was a line crosser. Yeah, I don't know. It was just, it seems like a bit of a stretch
Or
for Jax to be at that place.
or at this point with everything that's going on, maybe he's questioning whether or not he will maybe be around. And that's why he said that.
Well, and the sad reality is that, unlike Abel, Thomas is only going to know Wendy. He's not old enough to remember her, to remember Tara.
Yeah.
It's just not possible. So his mom will be Wendy, so it's going to be the opposite for them. Like, he believed his real mommy was Tara, and now, Tara's kid's going to believe his real mommy is Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
So, we cut to Jax fucking pounding on Unser's trailer, and says they need to talk. I told him to put on some pants because they need to talk.
Do you want to know how to watch TV? From everything on AMC to mystery. It's almost 8. It's TV time. Forget about what you read or what you think in your mind. Yeah. This is how to watch TV.
Thanks, Jim Linus, for the awesome Sons of Anarchy based theme song. Appreciate that. Love that one every week. Anyways, we cut back to... Oh, Jax asks how Gemma came to help Juice, to be helping Juice, and Wayne has no idea. And Unser was with Gemma the night of the murder, and Jax asks Unser to set up a face-to-face with Juice. And Unser knows what they're doing with Juice and Lynn, and says it's not about Lynn, it's about Tara. Unser asks why he should help. They keep lying to him, and he says the guy Gemma ID'd wasn't even in the state the night of the murder. And I just love that this is all shit that we know.
Mm-hmm.
We've known this for so long, and Jax is just like, what? It just doesn't, he doesn't understand at all. And he reiterates that he needs to talk to Juice and says he will give the DA any info they need on Tara's murder. And he's like, you can pull the video and watch the whole thing. And Unser's face of disbelief, the screenshot that I put in there.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Jax asks if he wants the truth or not. And Unser agrees, but says, if you burn me on this, Jackson, there's no more loyalty for your club or your family. Understood? Jax is like, noted. Got it. We cut to the prison with the guard telling Juice the thing Tully is helping him with goes down after breakfast. And then Juice plays with his knife and says, this gets done, to himself. I don't know when he became Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, I don't.
Let's get her done. Sorry, I apologize for ever saying that. Anybody who might be listening to that, my bad for referencing Larry the Cable Guy.
No, but it was a bad line coming from him, too.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, Chucky and Jax are working on, I'm assuming, Jax's dad's bike?
Yes.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
Badass color. Now, why did Chucky say it looks great in the club colors?
I don't know.
Because he clearly said that, and it was like, but I thought the club colors were black or something. That's awesome if that's the club colors. They should so rock that baby blue.
No, because that was the original color it was when it was in the clubhouse. Remember?
What was?
The bike.
The bike was blue?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was baby blue and like cream with chrome.
Huh. I liked it better than any of the other bikes on the show.
Well, it's because all the bikes are black.
Yeah. Not my thing. So, Tig and Chibs are told to visit the AB and reach out to Tully. Jax needs a secure room, and Chibs is confused as the plans with Juice and Lynn were already set. And Jax tells him it's not about Lynn, and says, "I'll fill you in when I know more." And yeah, this is the beginning of Chibs being left out for the entire episode. Wendy getting Abel dressed, and he asks if Daddy's okay, and Wendy asks if he's okay with all the mommy stuff, and then he hugs her. So yeah, I mean, I guess that would be an improvement
Yeah.
for him. He seems to be a little bit better at this point, than he was.
I think he acted, or no, because he was acting up before he found out.
Yeah. He gave her a hug and was calm and wasn't asking psychopath questions.
Mm-mm.
So the AB guard takes
I don't think the questions that he asked Gemma are psychopathic.
Well, I know, but they're just too...
I mean, think about the things that he's heard her say.
But they don't make sense for somebody his age. Again, Sawyer, we could say whatever you want in front of Sawyer, and he's not going to put together that same set of that same set of information. That's weird. First of all, a kid would immediately go, "What do you mean you killed mommy?" A kid just speaks at the time. They don't think. They don't plot. It's a story, so that I get why they had to do it. But yeah, that wouldn't happen that way. Craziness. Kid just sitting there quietly hearing a piece of information like that and going, I better sleep on it. I better plot something with my teacher tomorrow. Anyways.
I hear you, but the kid has also seen a lot of things.
What has he actually seen? I don't think he's seen much.
Okay, when he was 3 years old, he was abducted and taken to another country.
Okay, but again, that's one of those
things. You don't think he
things.
remembers that at all?
Yes, correct. I would say I don't think he remembers that for a second.
If it was really traumatic, that could really affect.
Do you remember anything before 5?
Actually, I do.
Oh, of course you do. Anyways, the Aryan Brotherhood guard is taking Juice to the basement, and he gives him a cell phone. And we see that Lynn is handcuffed to a pipe. He looks so casual in there.
Yeah.
Awesome fucking actor. Whoever that guy is, the guy that played Lynn is awesome. He was just so
Uh-huh. It was pretty...
He tells him he's there. The guard tells him there's a change of clothes in case it gets messy. And Juice needs some answers. He sets up the phone recording the interrogation. And he asks who sold out Sam Crow and gave the location of the guns. And he's like, oh, they sent the rat to weed out the rat. Juice says he will send the video to the club and nothing will happen to Lynn. And Lynn ends up telling him it was Borowski. Juice stops recording and then stabs Lynn in the throat. And he goes, oh, you lying? He goes, I'm a rat. What makes you think I wouldn't be a liar, too? And, stabs him 3 more times. And then turns around and watches him die as he changes his clothes. Starts stripping his shirt off. He's like, are we going to have to see another Juice ass shot?
Yeah.
And then he thinks his job is done, basically. It was my takeaway from that. He thought, yep, I'm good. All good. I can see Jax and we should be good. Gemma arrives at TM and Chucky tells her Jax was looking for her. And Unser informs Gemma that Wendy told Jax they were helping Juice. He says Jax is troubled about some info he got about Tara's murder. And tells Gemma the Chinese guy was in a Vegas jail. And Gemma uses the they all look the same line that Unser predicted, which was great. I was like, who said that? Oh, that was Unser that we called that she would go, oh,
Oh,
Asian, all look the same. It was
same.
dark. Unser asked if Juice was with her that night, and then asked when he came to her for help. And she was flustered, genuinely. Like, she clearly didn't think of a lie for this in advance. She never thought anybody would ask that question. She was just acting so guilty. It was great. She says he called her, and Unser laughs and says she's the last person he'd go to if he was in trouble. And she says he'll have to talk to Juice, and he says, "Oh, no worries, Jax is doing that." And then she just looked terrified.
Horrified.
Yeah, it was great.
It was horrible.
Jax is determined to get the truth, Unser says, and Gemma leaves, and Unser tells Chucky to follow her, and he gets his little moped and goes after her.
Which was cute.
Yeah, I mean, he's weird but endearing somehow. I like that they've kept him around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he is the mascot.
He's been around for a long time.
Yeah. Tig informs the club about the Tully Juice Jax situation, and they ask if it's about Lynn. And they all tell Chibs it's not looking good for Jax about the killing jury thing. I just like the way Chibs looked there. Just like I don't fucking know this. I fucking, you really, and then just like, that was all said in that look and then just gone. And Rat asks what happens if Jax can't prove his side of the jury incident. Basically, it's a member killing another member, and shit's about to go down with that stuff. I mean, as much as we wrap up things in this episode, the Lynn storyline being done, them discussing Marks a little bit, the club business has to be taken care of now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Jax awaits Juice, and then Tully comes in, and he said it's the only way it's only way he could secure the room. And Tully gives Jax Lynn's confession on the phone, and Jax is sort of taken aback that Lynn is dead. And Tully's like, "Isn't that was the plan, wasn't it?" And he asks if Juice's sins are paid off, and Jax is like, "I don't know." Juice tells Jax that it wasn't Jury, it was Borowski. And he says, "I did everything you asked, Jax." And he tells Juice he found out Gemma was helping him hide, and about the Chinese guy. And Jax needs to know why Juice would go to Gemma. Jax tells Juice about Abel cutting himself and blaming Gemma, and he tells Juice about telling Abel about Wendy. And then Abel's confession about Gemma killing Tara to make room for Wendy. And he overheard Gemma telling Thomas. And Jax says, "Nothing makes sense to me, Juice. Is my kid delusional, cutting himself, making up stories, or is he tormented, trying to wrap his mind around something horrible?" And he pleads for the truth from Juice, and somehow knows that Juice can give it to him.
It was a really great scene.
Yeah, it really was. It was one of the best of the whole series.
Yeah, it was a really, really good scene.
And Juice apologizes about Abel, and Jax asks if it's true. And then Juice launches into the story. Again, all the stuff that we've kind of known all this time, but just sprinkling in a few more details. He says he went to Jax's house looking for Gemma, like he asked. He was still trying to wrap his head around the "you betrayed me" line. He met Eli out front, and he was waiting on Tara, and they heard a crash and ran in, and Tara was dead. The place was trashed. She must have gotten in a brawl with Gemma. She was on the floor, freaked out, covered in blood. Eli went to call it in, and Juice killed him. Basically everything we knew already about the incident. Jax puts together that Gemma and Juice needed each other, and Juice came up with putting the kill on the Chinese, that the brutality of the murder felt gangland, and he didn't want it to come down on Brown and Nero. And Jax tells him that Bobby's dead and says August killed him. It was retaliation for the Chinese, and Jax stops Juice from saying sorry. He just don't say anything. He thanks Juice for the truth and says, "I'll make sure it's quick." And, Juice just kind of starts sobbing at that point. Yeah, not sobbing, but tears start streaming down his face. Like, he really thought that he was going to be done after that.
I don't think. How does he think he can get away with not telling him what happened and keeping it a secret and
Oh, that
helping
added
it.
on top of
Yeah.
all the other stuff? Good point. I mean, because he could have, yeah, basically, Juice's lie is what caused all of the fallout since Tara's been dead.
Yeah, but there was also a lot of fallout before that too with Juice.
Yeah, there were other things, but I mean, in terms of that lie,
Yeah.
that's his fault. Basically, to me, it was one of the best. It was definitely one of the best scenes of the series. You're gonna try to eat
No.
flavor twists on the air?
God, it sounds so good though.
They're
Okay.
so crunchy and loud. Come on, ridiculous. I thought that was one of the best acted scenes by Jax and even Juice. I watched a little, or I read a little thing about the behind the scenes of that and what they were told, and it was directed by Borowski. The
Oh,
episode
yeah?
was the actor who plays him, and he knew they were only going to be able to do those kind of scenes twice. After that, the emotion isn't there anymore. You just can't do it. And so he set it up, 2 cameras, one on each of them, and did it twice. But he told Juice, because he was like, how do I play this? And he said, don't. Just because he said that's one of the hardest things to do is as an actor, not play that information that you're giving out.
Yeah.
And he said, just tell him and don't do anything. Your life is over. You realize it as you're telling it. So just, and I think Theo Rossi did a fucking amazing job in that scene.
Yeah, you feel it more explaining it. Yeah.
For,
No, it was an awesome scene.
yeah, they were both pretty fucking good.
And the way he explained it too.
Yeah, it's good storyteller. I mean, I think he was milking it a little bit at that point because I think he saw the writing on the wall that he was pretty much done no matter what he
Yeah.
did. Which I don't know how he was only deluding himself to think that earlier. Gemma is looking at a picture of her boys, and Juice calls and gives her a heads up, and she hangs up before he finishes. What the fuck? Why did he do that? I don't understand what he had to gain from that. There was nothing, unless he was trying to get back at Jax a little bit. What could have his motivation have been to call and warn Gemma? I don't understand.
Because he's dead. Why
That's
not?
it?
Why not? He's dead already.
But that's just spiteful against Jax. And if he was trying to if he was trying to really help Jax,
He's dead already. What
But
does it matter?
is it because Gemma helped him?
Probably.
But I don't understand that at all. We then cut to the most adorable scene ever with Tig and Chibs doing the books. And I mean, holy shit, if that didn't just, I just couldn't get over how cute that was.
It was adorable.
They were great. And they don't get how Bobby handled this shit. And Tig says they need to patch in another Jew ASAP. Great line. And Jack shows up and they ask how it went. And he tells him that Juice took care of Lynn and says it wasn't Jury, it was Borowski. And Chip says that's going to complicate things with Indian Hills, and Jax has to handle a family problem first. And Chibs asks what's going on, and Jax just keeps saying he needs to talk to Gemma. And Tig is like, "What? Is something wrong with her?" And he's like, "I just need to talk to her." Then we cut to Gemma packing a bag, and she grabs a ring out of her jewelry box as Wendy knocks on the door, and Gemma hides the bag and. Wendy apologizes for outing Gemma, says she had to come clean to Jax after the first mommy thing. And Gemma asks if it helped, and Abel was a bit better today, less anxious. And Gemma says she's glad, and she's glad he knows that Wendy is his mom. It felt a little hollow at that point, but I see I don't know. Chucky brings in Thomas and says, he's shitty. And Gemma takes him and says she'll bring him out in a minute. And she sits down with Thomas and tells him she loves him. It's basically goodbye, but it felt like another one of those moments where it wasn't going to go this direction. It was going to go a different direction. Like, oh, give him here.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's her last play. Shit makes me nervous when she's around the kids. She needs to just not be around them anymore. I thought they said she can't be around them anymore.
I thought so too.
You can't be alone with the kids. So when she said that, I'll take him, it was like, you're a bit too anxious there, Miss cutting the Abel with a fork. I know you didn't do that, but they don't know that you didn't do that, for sure.
Yeah.
Nero and Alvarez are signing papers with Lila, and Alvarez says he'd like Lila to run Diosa, and she says, I'll stick to porn. I'd rather shoot pussy than have my pussy shot up. And Nero's like, whoa, we're trying to do a business transaction here. Can we not bring up that shit? Alvarez gives Nero $150K in an envelope, and Montez and Andre the Giant show up and ask if Gemma's there. And Gemma's trying to bail, and Chucky stops her, and she says she's in trouble and she can't let the club find her. And he says to hit him and take her keys, and she does and hides. And Chucky lets in Rat and Happy, and he's at the sink spitting up blood, and he lies and says she left about 10 minutes ago. Rat and Happy leave, and Gemma thanks Chucky. And he says, in just such a sweet moment, you know you're my best friend, Gem.
I know, that was really sweet.
But her, I accept that. What kind of... That's like, I love you. Thank you. Jerry arrives to talk with Unser, and she tells Unser Lynn was killed, and there's no video from the Jax chat, which obliterates everything between Unser and Jax at that point. And they need to talk to Juice, and Unser wants to talk to Jax real quick. And Chibs says, any idea why Cagney and Lacey are here? That's pretty good. And Jax asks if shit's getting deeper between them, and Chibs says it's the same. Such a lie. He's so full of it.
Mm-hmm.
Unser tells Jax Lynn's dead, and Jax says he knew, and says that happened before he went there, and that wasn't why he went to speak to Juice. And Unser gets smart and says, I guess we'll never know since there's no videotape of the convo. Tig pulls Jax aside and says Gemma just slugged Chucky and took off in a blue Ford. Jax tells Unser to call Gemma and ask her to meet him here. Unser asks what's going on with Gemma, and Jax says it's family business. And Unser says, maybe you forgot a little deal. I'm done helping you in the club. Jax says it's about Tara, and Unser says, oh, if you gave a shit about Tara, maybe you'd spend a little less time being a thug and a little more time being a dad. And Jax shoves him and tells him to watch his mouth. And Unser says, what's he going to do, kill me? Add me to your body count? Oh, maybe I should go to my trailer and stand in the kitchen and wait for someone to come along and stick a fork in my head. Fuck. But the looks, the Unser look. And then Jerry comes in after Jax punches him, and Unser says to put out an APB on Teller for assault. He wants him off the street until this shit's sorted. So that was smart as shit. I didn't realize that until the second viewing, that he did that on purpose so that he would have a way to put on an APB. Gemma's sitting outside a church and calls Nero, and she just says she needs to talk and gives him the address. Jerry and Unser talk to Juice, and Jerry says, I understand you're getting pretty cozy with the AB in here. And Juice is like, yeah, that's one way to put it. Unser says it's a shame about Lynn, and Juice flippantly is like, yeah, well, no one lives forever, right? And Jerry wants to know what him and Jax spoke about, and Juice says to watch the tape, and she, don't be an asshole. And he says, trust me, in here, all I have is someone's asshole. Great, I mean, just perfect setup.
Mm-hmm.
He told Jax the truth, and why is he looking for Gemma? And Gemma knows the truth behind every lie, inside every secret. She's the gatekeeper.
It was pretty awesome.
Unser says if he knows something about Tara, he has a chance, and Juice has no chance. Your heads are so far up your own asses, you can't even see what's right in front of you. And Jerry, if you're tired of getting things shoved up your ass, maybe we can help. He says it doesn't matter anymore. I'm all done. It's too late for all of us. Just like, holy shit, this dude's crazy, and we should probably leave. Jax goes to Borowski's store, and of course he's not there. They'll wait. Chibs asks again what's going on, and Jax says he needs to talk to Gemma. Don't ask me about it again. Like, damn, okay, fine. Shit. Nero meets up with Gemma, and she says that's the house she was born in, and her dad's parish was next door. So Gemma's baby brother died, which seems to be a theme in this show, siblings dying.
Yeah.
I don't know, just thought that was interesting. She couldn't wait to be a mom. After Thomas and her heart thing, John didn't want her to risk having any more kids. She wanted to have 12. And she never quit on Jax, though. She quit on everything else, torched everything else in her life. She had school, any other relationships, but not Jack's. And she thinks she was a good mom. And Nero consoles her, and she's like, of course you were. She says, I love you, Nero. Our time together has been neck deep in chaos, but you made me happy. And he's like, why does that sound like goodbye? And Jax calls, and Nero doesn't answer, and Gemma says, wait until I'm gone. And he asks her what happened, and she won't answer, and Jax calls again, and he's like, yeah, fuck it. Hello. And Jax asks where Gemma is, and Nero asks what's going on. Jax needs to track her down, and Nero says, I don't know, but I'll tell you what, if I do find out, I'm not telling you anything until I find out why. Which, that's all Chibs had to do, basically.
Yeah.
Because he just said, no, tell me. What? I'm not telling you shit, dude. You can tell, tell me what's going on. And Jax lays it out for him, and then the Nero look when he notices, or when he realizes.
Mm-hmm.
Great fucking acting. There was a thing about that I was reading about Kurt Sutter.
Amazing.
Where he said that he doesn't like doing scenes where you don't hear what somebody's saying. Where you don't hear the other side and they're reacting to nothing. But he said Jimmy Smits gets that luxury. He's that good. Nero says, Jax, I'm really sorry. And he says he understands, and he says he doesn't know where Gemma is. And he starts crying but tries to hide it from Jax. Poor fucking guy. Everything is crumbling around him, even though he just retired, basically. He asks if it's true, and he pleads with her to answer him, and she says, yes, it's true. And he can't speak. He tries, and he's just like, you should go. And she does, and that's the end of Nero and Gemma, basically, seemingly.
He's a better person than that, and I can completely understand why.
He sits down on the curb and loses it. His future is done. All he's got is his kid at this point.
Mm-hmm. And he should go.
Yeah, he really should. If he were smart, he would get the fuck out of there. But he's emotionally gone. There's nothing for him now. If he doesn't even have Gemma, like I thought at the moment when we were watching it, I thought he's gonna go with her. He's gonna be like, let's go, Gem. Let's get out of here.
But that was the plan. He did. That's until that phone call. He was like, I'm leaving, let's go.
Yeah.
You need to come. He was still pleading with her to come.
But once he realized that, I think he realized also what the implications were. If he bailed with her, his kid was vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously Jax is not above anything in terms of blackmails, so...
Not just that.
He didn't have a choice.
I can't say it correctly. What would Gemma not do at that point? Hearing the news that he found out.
Yeah.
And that was family. And she did that. Like, what else is she capable of?
Yeah, could she be a danger to his kid even?
Yeah. Or him.
Well, we cut to Borowski's, and the cops are outside running Jax's plates, and they come in after him, and Jax takes off. Great fucking scene. They put on this weird, flirty piano music that was like really strange and oddly offset the scene. And I loved when they were trying to chase Jax out the back, that they just kept blocking him. They kept blocking the cop, and then Chibs ends up tripping him, and the cop turns around like... That just goes.
Scuffs and runs off.
Yeah, and Jax runs out and stops in front of a Charger and calls the guy a fat piece of shit to get him to get out of the car, and then pulls a gun on him and takes the car. And he's like, call the cops. And Jax bails out.
I thought he said the cops are right behind him.
No, he said call the cops. Tell the cops or something, and then the cops run out right after him, yeah.
Oh, I thought he was like, they're right behind me.
Oh. Oh, he may have said, tell the cops they're right behind me. Yeah. So Jax runs one of the cops off the road in the ensuing chase and another into a van. And apparently that was a homage to Bullet. Mm-hmm. Which maybe that would explain the music choice. I'm not sure. But maybe they did that in the vein of that, because I had read that's what that chase scene was done in homage to. Well, anyways, with radios and other cops, this would never happen.
Yeah.
That just doesn't... You can't outrun the cops anymore. There'd be a helicopter in a second.
Small town.
Yeah. That had to be why they said it there, so they could get away with bullshit like that. That just doesn't make sense anymore. We cut to Abel on the playground at school as Gemma approaches the fence, and she gives him John's son's ring. John Teller's son, SONS ring. It feels like I'm saying Jax's ring. So it says it's for him when he patches in, and she says she loves him, and then Courtney Love notices and tells Abel to go back to class, and she tells her she's going to report this, and she's like, you know what, thanks for watching out for Abel, and actually a pretty good bit of acting from the kid, the walk away.
Yeah.
And I didn't get how Courtney Love would just not walk him all the way back. Like that she just kind of let him trail behind when Grandma was still there. She doesn't know that she's all of a sudden somber and okay to leave. But him turning around and going, goodbye, Grandma. Like he knew. I thought that was a cool shot. Kid nailed it. Mm-hmm. That was one time I didn't question his acting. Jax is in Sanctuary at Alvarez's, basically. He's hiding out there. And he says it's a good thing they're partners. I don't know why he said that. He just said it's a good thing we're partners. Like, that's usually followed by, because if we weren't...
I didn't get that either.
So they need to sit down with Connor to figure out guns. And he asks, what about Marks? He says they need to finish up with the Chinese, then sit with Tyler and split up the territory. And by the time August gets out, Black, White, and Brown will be united. Chibs, Tig, and Happy and Rat show up and ask if he's all right. And Jack says he's fine and let him know when they're all at the table. Jax is told by the AB guard his new friends want him in the infirmary. And he's like, why? And he's like, because you need medical attention. They beat the shit out of him. And Jax sits at a makeshift table. And he apologizes for not communicating today. He got some new info that Abel overheard Gemma say. And Juice confirmed it for him this morning. He didn't want to believe it, but after Gemma took off, he says the Chinese didn't kill Tara, Gemma did. I mean, I feel like we're rehashing this information a million times because we've known it for so long.
Yeah, but you have
Jax
to
is
explain
going,
how it's come out.
Yeah, he's like, I guess it was a fit of rage. Juice killed Roosevelt, and they came up with the lie. The Chinese guy whose head Jax split open wasn't even in the state. And the level of brutality of Tara's murder, he thought it had to be gang retaliation or a message, and he was wrong. And that mistake is his and his alone. Everything that happened, everybody that dropped, Wes, Jury, Bobby, everything was his fault. And Jax is going to sit down with Packer and the other presidents and come clean about Jury. Then the guns with Tyler and the Irish, and he's going to do everything he can to make it right. And he'd appreciate some time to think. He doesn't want to talk about it. And they'll meet back tomorrow. He said, I'm sorry that the family I was given has created so much chaos in the family I've chosen. And just lets him know he loves him. A good scene.
So insane. It's a lot of info to take in at once.
Yeah, I mean, the way that Tig was reacting.
Yeah.
Him learning that shit about Gemma was troubling. And, I mean, I don't know. Just they all handle that really fucking well. That is a crazy amount of information. Again, they've all been working on the wrong information. It feels like nothing to us in a way because we've known it for so long.
Yeah, but they all know what has been the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, to just...
And what they've lost.
That Bobby's gone because of that. Again, because of Juice, and he thinks he'd ever get back in. Unser goes to, I think he goes to Gemma's, right? Isn't that where Chucky was?
Yeah.
And Chucky asked Chucky if he's heard from Gemma or knows where she went, and no. And Chucky knows she's not coming back. Unser kind of stares off too, like he's, as much as he hates her, at this point, he's as much as he loves her, I think even at this point he knows she needs to go down. Well, I think he was still like, oh shit, she'd leave me? Lay down, Echo, there's nothing here. There's no reason to bark. Anyways. Wendy is feeding Thomas as Abel says goodnight and gives Thomas a kiss. And Nero shows up to talk to Jax as the club leaves. And they sit down to talk, and Nero asks if the crew knows. And Jax asks where she went. And Nero's like, I don't know. I couldn't talk to her. And Jax just asks how do I come back from this? the damage to my club, family, and my boy. And Nero says maybe it's time to honor Tara's wish. And I hadn't thought of that in a while, but that makes total sense.
Yeah.
That he would just go, yeah, she did want you to take them and get the hell away from here.
Yeah, get away.
And Nero asks about Gemma. And he gets the pain, but a son killing his mother, he knows even Jax couldn't come back from that. It'll swallow him up. And Jax is like, yeah, I know. He's like, that's the part that hurts the most. I still love her. She's my mom. He felt like such a kid there for a second. The way he said that was so well played. This fucking scene is right up there in the top 5 of the series. Mm-hmm. So it's so weird that I felt underwhelmed by this episode, and yet there were 2 amazing performances at least. And he asks how she could do this to Tara, and he asks in a hushed tone with tears, and they hug like a good father and son would.
It was touching.
I mean, he's filled that gap that Jax has always had, and
he's actually been a good
yeah.
part too.
I expected him to be bad too. I was expecting a swerve with him and Jerry,
but it was never. It was always good.
He's been a straight up dude since the beginning, and as they're hugging in a very just the world is coming down around him kind of way, we cut to Gemma driving away singing a song. And then I don't know the significance of the street sign, the sign of where she was going, other than to say that she's gone at this point, like for real gone. Nobody ever leaves in this show; they always just stay relatively close. Mm-hmm. Like I think she's bailing now. They have to be face to face before the end of the series.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna end with her completely gone.
I think he would almost be willing to forgive her. That's my prediction, that I don't think anybody would expect at this point, is for him to just be like, okay, we can move forward on this. I need you around. I still need you in my life. It's the worst thing ever, but I think he's got the capacity to forgive her. I'd like to see him just put a bullet in her head.
Yeah.
And then take the boys and leave the club. And like you see Abel with the son's ring at the end or something. I don't know. I'm not really sure where it's going, and I'm actually, for the first time in a long time, enjoying the ride. It's been a while to get into this season, but it has been pretty good in retrospect.
Yeah, I actually haven't been able to predict any of it.
It's
been very...
Most of the stuff I thought was going to happen, ended up not playing out the way I thought. I thought, for example, Bobby would be riding again with a patch.
Yeah.
Like an eye patch, and that did not happen.
That was a big shock.
Yeah, they've done very well with the emotional scenes of this story in this season. I actually am enjoying it now. I don't want to see it end, only because I really like some of the characters. And I know some of the lesser characters are never going to have a role like this again. Chibs is not going to be a regular on TV after this. I think he's going to be like a Kevin or an Oscar from The Office. Like, that's it. They did their thing, or Creed.
Yeah.
Like they played that role, and then they're never going to be on TV again.
I can see that.
I don't know what else he would do. He's got too heavy an accent. I would like to see
There's
Tig.
certain movies he could do.
I'd like to see Tig do other things, or Juice, or Happy.
Juice does other things. So I've seen him pop up here and there.
Yeah, he looks weird with a full head of hair.
Yeah.
It's strange.
Or bald without the tattoos on the side.
Yeah.
I've seen him in a couple shows without the tattoos and stuff, and
looks different.
Yeah.
Huh.
Tig, I've seen in a couple other shows.
Tig was in Entourage. I remember that, but he's never going to have a role where he gets to be this awesome again. When is he ever going to get to...
weird, awesome.
Let me ask you this, and I'll end on this note for this week, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. At what point do you follow us on... there's a How to Watch TV discussion group at this point on Facebook, if you want to join into it. Just a little community where we could talk about the other things we're watching besides just Sons of Anarchy. if I had more time, I'd do podcasts on every show. Walking Dead's been particularly awesome this year.
Yes, it has.
But I'm going to end on the note that what show would you, in what world would you ever get a role that would compete with getting to be a biker who's kind of into necrophilia and is nailing a transvestite version of Shane from The Shield? Catch us in 2 weeks, because
This is how to watch TV.
see you later.
All these memories in my mind, my mind, my mind, my mind, my mind, my mind. I'm still a secret lemonade drinker.